You know how in some historical events we often see this question: where were you when something happened? Some events are so memorable that we can remember exactly where we were and what we were doing. And although it may seem quite recent, but personally I will definitely be remembering where I was when the opening ceremony of Paris 2024 happened. And not for the good reasons. Welcome to Retrospect. The origins of the Olympic Games date back to ancient Greece, where the first recorded games were held in Olympia in 776 BCE. These ancient games were a religious festival honoring Zeus, the king of the Greek gods, and featured athletic competitions such as running, wrestling, and chariot racing. The ancient Olympics were held every 4 years, a tradition known as the Olympiad, and were one of the most important events in Greek culture. The Olympic Games are a global spectacle that brings together athletes from around the world to compete in a variety of sports. It is more than just a competition. It's first and foremost a celebration of human spirit, unity, and the pursuit of excellence, guided by friendship, camaraderie, and respect, while putting aside all of our differences as humans. The opening ceremonies of the Olympic Games are a highly anticipated event showcasing the host country's culture and creativity. These ceremonies are a blend of tradition and innovation, featuring a parade of nations, artistic performances, and the ignition of the Olympic flame. In 2017, it was announced that the country that would be hosting the upcoming Olympic Games would be France. Paris was preferred to be the host, taking the first place of the votes ahead of Los Angeles, which will host the Olympic Games of 2028. Now, you would think this would be great news for the French population, but the surveys actually showcase mixed opinions. 47% of French people had mixed feelings, with a mixture of enthusiasm and concern. Most of the respondents live in Paris. 39% have a negative opinion. Most of these respondents were women, people living in rural areas, and individuals of more than 55 years old. Only 14% show a positive feedback. More of them are men who are well established in their careers and appreciate the good things in life. So while France was preparing to host these important sporting events, the French population was quite apprehensive. Many people worry about security, given the large crowds and the event's international visibility. Additionally, there's concern regarding the use of public funds, as hosting such an event can be costly. Parisians were quite unanimous in saying that the money could go elsewhere, where it would be more beneficial to the overall infrastructure and development of the country. Another significant worry is the potential environmental impact. Parisians fear that building new infrastructure could harm local ecosystems. This includes concerns about the carbon footprint from construction activities, the travel of athletes and spectators from other countries, and the production of waste. The French were also concerned about the impact of the Olympic Games on their daily lives. They believe their daily commutes will become more complicated due to the potential road closures and increased traffic. Additionally, there are worries about the organization of summer vacations, as the games could lead to higher prices in tourist accommodations, forcing some people to adjust or postpone their vacation plans. However, the French government is looking at hosting the Olympic Games for a completely different perspective. According to the official website of Olympics.com, hosting the Olympic Games generates powerful economic benefits. It enables the region and country to develop the knowledge and skills of their workforce and volunteers, career opportunities, the tourism and events industry, the business sector, their global profile, and diplomatic relations. The predicted economy benefits for France would be estimated between $7.4 and $12.2 billion. The profit can be the result of many actions. Hosting the Olympics often requires significant investments in infrastructure, including sports venues, transportation systems, and accommodations. The Olympics excel in drawing spectators, athletes, and officials from around the world, boosting demand for hotels, restaurants, and local attractions. The global attention and improved infrastructure can attract foreign investors who may see opportunities in the host city or country. This investment can span various sectors, including real estate, retail, and services. Even though hosting the Olympic Games in Paris may not have seemed like a good idea to the French, the opening ceremony still attracted an astounding number of viewers. over 29 million people watched, the highest viewership since the 2012 games. This would have been great news if the opening ceremony had been well received, but that was not the case. What made the opening ceremony of Paris 2024, that was aimed to bring people together and to be more inclusive, cause such divisiveness and disagreement? The ceremony was separated between different paintings, 12 to be exact. Each of these paintings are based on all of the city's symbols and the meanings they convey. Starting at 7:30 French time, the opening ceremony kicked off with an introduction video with Jamel Debbouze and Zinedine Zidane. Zidane is seen walking through Paris with a torch handed to him by comedian Jamel Debbouze. Debbouze finds the Stade de France empty because, for the first time, the ceremony is being held outside of the stadium. Zidane then takes the flame into the subway, passing it on to children who walk through the catacombs and then travel by boat through the subterranean canals of Paris. The children, accompanied by a hooded individual, appear live on the Austerlitz Bridge. The same bridge displayed a spectacular show of blue, white and red smoke bombs, the color of the French flag. The boats of the various Olympic delegations from around the world then paraded on the Seine River, starting with the Greek delegation and followed by the refugees. The entire ceremony would follow the same pseudo-formula, countries parading and interrupted by a show of artists, famous singers and dancers. I wouldn't go through them one by one, but I would list here the most memorable performances. The first one being Lady Gaga, covering an iconic song from the French music hall, Mon Truc en Plume. The performance itself was not live. Notre-Dame de Paris, the emblematic cathedral in the heart of Paris that was burned down back in 2019, is honored during the ceremony with performers dressed as builders dancing on the scaffolds. The cathedral will reopen its doors in December the 8th. Aya Nakamura, the most streamed French artist in the world, is seen lip-syncing her songs, making her way out of the Académie Française. She was then joined by the Republican Guard, which gradually surrounded the singer and her dancers. Aya Nakamura got into the spirit amidst the symbol of the Republic, performing many dance moves. One of the most moving moments of the opening ceremony of the Paris 2024 Olympic Games was when the opera singer Axel Saint-Cyril, high atop the Grand Palais overlooking the capital, performed a particularly poetic version of the Marseillaise, the French hymn. In true French fashion, a beheaded Marie Antoinette is singing while holding her severed head in her hands in one of the windows of La Conciergerie, a former courthouse and prison in the heart of Paris. While more and more country delegations are seen navigating up the Seine River, many queer artists and drag queens are seen walking up and down the catwalk, before ending in a controversial scene. More of that later. Among horsemen and hooded individuals, the ceremony ended with the ignition of the Olympic flame and ending with a heartfelt performance of Celine Dion, who sang live for the first time after a long hiatus due to her medical condition. The past opening ceremonies of Olympic Games often get remembered for an iconic moment or gesture that stands the test of time. From the spectacular lighting of the Olympic cauldron with a fiery arrow from across the stadium by the Paralympic archer Antonio Rebello in the 1992 Olympic Games in Barcelona, to the calculated movements of the 2008 people drumming to the same beat in the 2008 opening ceremony hosted in Beijing. Not to forget the cameo of Queen Elizabeth II alongside James Bond for the 2012 London Olympic Games. However, as it had quite a heavy load of controversy since the beginning, I'm afraid the Paris Olympic Games opening ceremony would be remembered for the wrong reasons. During the broadcast of the opening ceremony, many people ran to X, formerly known as Twitter, to express their opinions on the matter. Opinions that could be seen as harsh and negative, especially after some particular scenes. One of the controversies surrounding the games is how the opening ceremony almost showed 3 people engaging in what could be described as a ménage à trois.
This is definitely fruity.
During the opening ceremony, viewers were treated to a mixture of live scenes and recorded moments as boats carrying the athletes made their way to the staging area. Many viewers were shocked and confused by the polyamorous scene, as they expressed their dissatisfaction on X, saying that they felt obligated to explain to their children what they have just witnessed. While the scene itself is full of deep French references, a nod to the book Jules et Jim of Henri-Pierre Rocher, as well as the term ménage à trois, French expression universally used, we cannot help but wonder, what does this have to do with the values of Olympic Games? As I was watching this ceremony, it felt as though the entire event was scheduled for a specific agenda, to show the inclusivity of France, and I use that term loosely, and the even further glamorization of Paris. Another controversy that sparked outrage from a wider audience was the scene of the Last Supper, featuring drag queens, children, a Smurf man, and a plus-size woman in a sport event. It definitely did not go unnoticed from Christians who view this scene as caricatural and blasphemous to their religion, mentioning that freedom of speech has its limits once it hurts the others. In the 4th of August, the Vatican has broke its silence regarding the infamous scene and said that it showed a lack of respect for others. I quote, "The Holy See was saddened by certain scenes at the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympic Games and cannot but join the voices raised in recent days to deplore the offense done to many Christians and believers of other religions." Olympics officials initially denied that the performance was based on the Da Vinci's painting, but a spokesperson later confirmed the painting was artistic director Thomas Joly's inspiration. It was also awkward to see that Barbara Butch, the French DJ depicted as Jesus Christ, posted this on her Instagram story and immediately deleted it afterwards.
Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. If people have taken any offense, we are of course really sorry.
Ma volonté n'est pas d'être subversif, ni de me moquer, ni de choquer. Ma volonté est simplement de dire que nous sommes ce grand nous et que hier soir, c'était des idées républicaines, c'était des idées d'inclusion et c'était l'idée de faire transparaître ces valeurs-là à travers la cérémonie.
Catholic bishops and other Christians claimed that the show was offensive, and former President Donald Trump slammed the opening ceremony on X, calling it a disgrace.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
To make things even worse, the controversies did not stop at the ceremony either. The actual games also had their fair share of issues throughout. Belgium's Olympic team has withdrawn from the mixed relay triathlon at the Paris Games after athlete Claire Michel became ill following a swim in the Seine River. Michel was hospitalized for an E. coli infection, which can lead to serious health issues. While the team didn't explicitly blame the river for her illness, the Seine has faced ongoing water quality concerns, despite France's stubbornness to feature the Seine River in aquatic competitions. On August 1st, another controversy made headlines and sparked a lot of online arguments. In a highly anticipated boxing match, Algerian fighter Iman Khalif faced off against Italy's Angela Carini. The fight lasted a mere 46 seconds, as Carini took 2 heavy blows to the face and chose to forfeit, citing unfairness and refusing to shake Khalif's hand. The incident quickly garnered widespread media attention, with reports highlighting Khalif's previous ban from competing in the World Championships due to failed testosterone and gender eligibility tests. The controversy caught the eyes of notable figures like J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk, who shared their opinions on social media. Even Donald Trump weighed in, reiterating his stance on keeping men out of women's sports for his upcoming elections. Despite the heated debate, Carini later posted a video on TikTok offering support and wishing Khalif luck in her upcoming fights and potential Olympic run. The gesture was met with mixed reactions, with some commenters speculating it was merely a public relations move. It is sad to realize that, on this day and age, Olympic Games are no longer about athletic contests and performance, but more of a caricature of a dystopian reality, a realistic Hunger Games. Politics, religion, racism all find a way to seep into what was formerly known as a recurring event that brings people together despite the differences, focusing on peak human skills and determination to up one another. While the controversies surrounding the Paris 2024 Olympic Games opening ceremony have sparked intense debate, it's crucial to consider the complex interplay between artistic expression, cultural representation, and public sensibilities. The concept of tyranny of the minority comes into play here, where a vocal subset of the population may exert disproportionate influence on the public discourse and decision-making. However, it's equally important to recognize that marginalized voices often need platforms to be heard. The challenge lies in striking a delicate balance between inclusivity and respect for diverse beliefs, without allowing any single group to dominate the narrative or stifle creative expression. The Olympic Games, as a global event, must navigate these tensions carefully, striving to represent the host nation's culture while maintaining the universal values of sport and unity. As we close the chapter of Paris 2024 and move towards Los Angeles 2028, the conversation about the relevance and the importance of the Olympic Games in our modern world is far from over. It is up to all of us, athletes, organizers, spectators, and global citizens, to shape the future of this enduring symbol of human achievement and international cooperation. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe to the channel if you like the content. See you in the next video.